Greetings everybody and welcome to a new video with me, Umbraze, talking about our update here on Wotv JP and thereby Wotv Global in the future. So we have a bunch of things to talk about. I'm going to try and get through it in a relatively efficient way, but we'll see. Because there is quite a few things to talk about. So starting off with this new VC, the new Gotcha VC, looks pretty good. Honestly, it's pretty irrelevant to talk about this VC about whether it's good or not for one particular reason being that, as it turns out, Jaden is on one of the strongest teams already. For those who don't know, made a video about it yesterday talking about the #1 guild and what they seem to be running wall to wall. And some people have said, I can't believe that it beats out evasion. It doesn't seem like it would have that much accuracy. Well, I mean, this is another source of accuracy for those teams potentially. And honestly, I mean, you'd be kind of surprised. Jaden does actually get there with Yuna. And as such, this VC supports that in a pretty damn good way. So I can see this VC being something that a lot of players will actually want in the highest tier. And for everybody else, I mean, if you don't have the characters, then probably can just sit back and wait on this because it is a permanent VC, so there isn't a huge rush. Moving on, let's talk about these two banners. This might be available on Global already, but if it's not, I'm going to take it as an opportunity to advertise it myself. First, this 6K regular to get a selectable vision card of your choice is a really good deal. Probably the best deal we will see in vision cards for the next few months. If there is a VC that you particularly want and you're on the free to player, well, then this is a pretty good way of doing it. Taking a look though here, the level 99 VC selector for 2K paid is in fact a good deal. It is a much better deal than trying to get and max out a hollow vision card or a level 9 or a 90 cost vision card. So taking a look, I mean, like pretty much everything. Let me just scroll down and see all the way up to the Exia card, by the looks of it, is available on JP's selector, including some of the hollow vision Esper. So there's plenty of good choices, and I can see this just being good value if you are interested in at all spending. This is probably a good way to go about it. So let's jump over to some unit upgrades just to break the pace a little bit, starting off with this guy, Veritas, who has gotten his mastery level 2 as well as his limit burst upgrade, and both are looking pretty good. I don't know if this is going to be incredibly impactful with the fact that Jaden and Ice Range is kind of just so good, but essentially what we are looking at is that his AP acquisition has gone up from 30 to 60, which is a pretty significant increase, AoE resistance of 15, and grants the following effect upon hit: seals remove haste for 3 turns or 5 turns. Pretty good little bonus right from the start of battle, so long as he can get a hit in on an opponent and stop them from removing haste. Of course, this is a little bit situational and depends on the map and all those kind of conditions, but it should be generally pretty good for a free upgrade. Now, talking about his limit burst upgrade, damage has stayed the same. The conditions of most of the stuff has stayed the same. The big things that are additional to his limit burst: cost is down from 43 to 33 AP, which is nice. Reduces magical damage taken by 20% for 3 turns for himself, and decreases pierce resistance by 38% for 3 turns for the target, which is pretty good. I think that it's fine. It is going to keep him at least in the conversation with any new spear characters that may come in the near future. And spear characters in general, nice to be able to get through piercing spear resistance. But honestly, I think this is just okay. I'm not over the moon about it. I think this is just fine for relatively easy upgrades. Veritas is kind of feeling a little bit out right now. but we'll keep an eye and see if he comes back. The other character to get a significant interesting upgrade is like Veritas, mainly because of with the way gunners are going right now. Like Veritas is a alternative to Yuna and a more free-to-play friendly alternative to Yuna, which synergizes better with Jaden since both are magic damage shooting dealers. Well, the Dream Enhancement has now been added for her. Single target resistance of 15, reaction block rate of 30, critical evasion of 15, and a single skill upgrade for her is her big AoE that decreases light resistance and has a chance of causing poison. The now total effect of it can be used one extra time. It's still 32 AP, still has line of sight, and is still capable of being range buffed. It is the large AoE. It decreases light by 25%. That stays the same. AoE resistance decrease of 30. That has stayed the same. Damage mod, 200%. Absorbs 50% of the damage done. Seems to be the only thing that has been upgraded for this, which is interesting because Light Veritas is capable of dealing a pretty nasty amount of damage from some people I know who have her in a better state than where I currently am. So it's interesting, like it gives her potentially some more healing, maybe some more survivability on the back end. But whether or not this is enough, honestly, I just don't have this character fully mastered, and most people don't, and I haven't seen her much in Arena yet. Hopefully that's going to change in the next little bit, and I'll be able to get more data on her, because Light Veritas is one of my favorite of the Veritas. The reason why she's my home screen unit. But yeah, there you go. Now let's jump over into the free vision card that is the Pain vision card. Now, I don't have this VC yet because obviously this content has just started. Here it is. And if we just look in here. Oh yeah, there's some of the Moogle stuff. This is a little bit different from the previous ones. But talking about the vision card here, it has spirit, attack, and HP on the VC. 10% and 5 for the unit that has this directly equipped, providing that it's not in the sub spot. Party effect is 24% magic resistance, single target resistance is 16, and human killer 25. Activated on only quest map and increase initial AP by 20. It's a nice little VC. If I remember correctly, it was like for some swords, great swords, and spears, so it doesn't quite line up with the gunner agenda right now. It is a little bit disappointing, but you know, for a free Hol VC, not going to complain too much. Also, the Dark Veritas upgrade, first of the upgrades, is here. Taking a look at that will be in a bit of a separate video, so please stay tuned. And as for the Moogle suit, well, I might actually need to pause that video because as it turns out, it's not on Wotv Calc. But before we get into there, we'll just jump into two other characters' upgrades. Starting off with Soul. Soul now getting his Limit Burst upgrade, which was a mountain of stuff before and is even more reading now. So before it dispelled Shell, ignored fatal damage, 200% mod, 67% chance of poison, decreased attack, healing power, and resistance, fire resistance if poison was in effect. The AP and the number of uses hasn't changed, the range hasn't changed on this. The only thing that looks to have changed is this. Increase single target resistance penetration by 40 for 3 turns if the target has poison in effect. So there's even more condition now that poison actually activates. If poison does not activate on the target, then you really don't get actually that much out of it. Either way, it's fine, I guess, for Grand Arena, but other than that, I don't think it'll make that difference in terms of potentially anywhere else. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I've said, so that's what I'm going to stick with. Next up, and final character to get an upgrade is Gernsback. And Gernsback here, his limit burst broke physical barriers before, absorbs decreases single target resistance by 30 for 3 turns, 200% mod. That mod has now been increased by 40%, so it is stronger. And taking a look at the effect, as I almost said there for a second, absorbs 50% of the damage done for 3 turns for self, which is a more substantial upgrade than in some other places, because this does actively affect all of its kit. And we do have Veritas potentially powering up spear characters. I don't think it's enough to be really that notable, but if you were a mid-tier player or a low-tier casual player and just wanted to have fun, there's some good combination here between 2 spear characters that is semi-cost limited, so that's pretty nice. I'm not going to poo-poo on that. I think it is fine. Alright, now just give me 1 second while I double check something. Alright, coming back now after actually having double checked. This is not on Wotv yet for whatever reason. Even if you take a look at the equipment section. Oh, never mind. It is hidden in the equipment section. So for people who want to look it up, it is hidden in there, but it does have a pretty long loading time. So let's talk about it really quick. This Moogle suit piece of equipment for each of the characters. How did it turn out for each of them? Well, there are 3 versions of the Moogle suit: the barrier suit, the shield suit, and the dodge suit. The dodge suit ended up with 25 per void, 13 critical evade, and only 4 defense and 7 spirit with 444 HP. But that is pretty big for Riku, seeing that Riku has been using dodge equipment before, and since there is some dodge benefit, well, we're not going to discount it as a possibility for Riku just because of that. Shield version, 12 defense, 9 spirit, and barrier version, 6 defense, 19 spirit. Now, for Pain, she is looking at weakness resistance up by 15 and single target resistance up by 10. I think this is okay. I don't know if I'm quite super amazed by this, but it seems okay. You're also combining this with elemental chain resistance and chain resistance of 25. So for Pain, it really is a defensive piece of equipment, pushing her more towards being tanky for fights. So that kind of seems to be where Pain has ended up. Talking about most people's golden girl, Riku, the Dodge Master. Here she also gets the elemental chain resistance and the chain resistance, which does provide a little bit more security for Riku staying alive over the course of a fight. But we are looking at 15 for magical evade and human killer up by 20. Again, taking a look at how most Riku builds, they essentially do want something like the Santa coat, which does have 33 evade. Best you're getting off of the Moogle suit is 25. But you are getting a fundamental other type of evasion, which is magical evade. So the Moogle suit might not be the overall best if you're just trying to stack as much evasion as possible. But the Moogle suit does provide potentially better situational evasion if you are up against magical evasion character, or magical characters rather than physical characters. So something to be thought about. And finally, the last character, Yuna. Wait, not that Yuna, the other Yuna. There she is. Hi, Yuna. So elemental chain resistance and chain resistance. This one is just a 10% damage increase and a permanent range increase of 1 for her. This is pretty nice piece of equipment for her, because if we wanted just higher range for her, being able to attack and hit characters from much further away, then this seems like a no-brainer for Yuna. Most of the time, Well, I'm trying to think of what exactly I've seen on Yuna's. I really don't want to speak too loudly because I feel like whatever that team is that the highest tier guilds are using, I would love to get more of a peek into that kind of equipment. But something like the ranged diamond coat probably is a good piece of equipment for most of the time. Or if you're trying to deal with accuracy issues, then maybe the emerald spyglass is what you will be looking at. But definitely Yuna is going to be looking for some good equipment, and the Moogle suit is probably good just to have on hand in case you did need that range increase, which is always, I think, a good consideration for a gunner. Either way, I will be farming it, and I'm sure many people will be farming it, and I think that is generally all that I want to cover in this video. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and take care. See you later.